President Bola Tinubu has officially handed over the chairmanship of ECOWAS to Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio. Now, this happened at the 67th Ordinary Session of the ECOWAS Authority in Abuja. President Tinubu, who led the bloc through a turbulent 2-year tenure, passed the baton with a call for unity, democratic values, and economic integration. President Tinubu's tenure saw a military coup in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, countries that eventually withdrew from ECOWAS.
Well, he urged them to return and emphasized that economic integration cannot thrive in political instability. Now, President Bio has outlined 4 key priorities: restoring constitutional order, revitalizing regional security, unlocking economic integration, and building institutional credibility. But what does this leadership transition mean for the region? And can President Bio deliver on the promises of peace, security, and integration? Well, joining us for this discussion is the Public Affairs Analyst, Mr. Joe Femi-Dagunro. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to be here.
All right. There seems to be a transition. Many were not expecting it to take place yesterday. Some were expecting that maybe later on in another meeting this would happen. But what does this transition mean for the region, especially looking at what took place yesterday?
Well, this is a diplomatic issue, and sometimes behind the scene, a lot of things, are worked out. The most important thing is to see that ECOWAS is better placed in this region, because you've had it. There have been a couple of issues, that has bothered the ECOWAS region, and it's just the fact that we are not lacking in ideas and thoughts and what to do, but the execution of some of these ideas, some of these plans have always been the problem. Most African countries, they know what to do, they know how to do it, but sometimes nobody really knows now but we just hope that Bill is going to bring in his own experience, do his own beat, and let's see how far it goes. We can now not say precisely how far it will go, some of his own ideas, how it will turn out to be, but we just believe that Julius Bio, the president of Sierra Leone, is going to do his bit, and let's see how far it can go.
President Tinubu led the ECOWAS through what some refer to as a turbulent period. But let's have you talk about your assessment of his time as leader in the past year, especially regarding regional instability. Were there wins? Were there losses? Maybe missteps that you would consider in the way that he handled the ECOWAS?
You see, sometimes, you cannot say how this thing works out. It's just unfortunate that it happened during his own tenure. Nigeria was going through a lot as well, and here you have a president who has to, deal with his own people, his own country, and at the same time deal with the ECOWAS region. So it's something that he couldn't have prevented, because these men in the Sahel region, they've planned it, they've made their minds on what to do, and he couldn't have stopped them, because they have their own sovereignty as well, don't forget. So he has done what he could do, and that is one thing about some of these things I've said about these diplomatic issues. He has done what he could do, the best he could do, and to focus on his own country as well. You could see what he inherited in Nigeria as well, almost dying central bank. Our economy was, in bad shape. The political issues, the security issues, and a lot of things that are still going on.
The challenges Nigeria was dealing with as a country served in some measure as a distraction to the president as he was chairman of the...
I wouldn't say that's a distraction, but I think it's one of those issues that, borders on how you can handle regional issues when you have your own issue at home. And now you see the fact that even some of these regional issues and the home-based issues are the same thing. I mean, you see the kind of banditry and the kind of security problem we have in ECOWAS region as well. See the financial institution in ECOWAS having some problems. I think most of the important thing we have to look at is this. ECOWAS was formed even before European Union. And this is something that has not been able to grow past a certain stage. We've not been able to have the ECOWAS currency. We've not been able to have a free passage the way it should be. Some time ago, I was passing through the border at the border there, and you are still asking me for laissez-passer. Go to Cameroon, you are still asking, a lot of questions. Why do I have to come in here? You know, I have this experience in African countries because, you know, I was at the time the vice president of a company for the entire Africa. So having seen some of this in about 45 African countries, I think we have a problem, not just within the ECOWAS. But now we are seeing that, okay, we say this thing theoretically, but how do we practice most of these things that are being discussed? It is the execution of this program. Look at what is going on in the European Union. Look at what is going on in some other places. They have their regional issue as well, but they are being managed in a way that once ECOWAS should say something, all ECOWAS countries should be able to abide by it. But it's not the case. You know, the ECOWAS will say something and it's not being, it's not being followed up.
So ECOWAS has, are you saying that ECOWAS has lost its influence?
Maybe so, maybe so. The influence is not what you expect. The influence is supposed to be more powerful than what we are seeing. Even when people go to ECOWAS court, are they being enforced in all the countries? So you see all these things happening. So we have a lot of things in theory that we still have to look at from the basic aspect of it. And we look at even African Union itself. You know, so how can we do this? We have resources, human resources, natural resources, and that is what we should thrive on. That's what we should grow on. But we are not utilizing some of these things. You know, we have cross-border trade that we should be making huge money out of it. If we have been able to have our ECOWAS currency, it wouldn't have been like this. We shouldn't be bothering ourselves about dollar, euro, or renminbi, or whatever. But because we are not consolidating on some of the issues that we've been discussing for the past decades. So it's not President Bola within his 2 terms or these few years that is going to bring up, but that's what I'm saying. Every one of them will come in and do their bit and leave it that way. But let's have consistency. Let's have something. Let them come together. Look at what Talon was saying. He was saying the truth. And can we just say, look, not just saying it, can we just put it into practice and see what we can achieve? It's a great thing to have ECOWAS. It's a brilliant and vibrant region in Africa, but how far can we go with that?
It's a key indicator that, most importantly, ECOWAS would need to rejig, reshape, if care is not taken, its policies. But are you certain that the president of Sierra Leone would be able to do this, looking as far back as those who have been there before, and many have considered this regional bloc to be weak?
Well, like I said, you know, each and every one of them will come in and do their bit. You know, the only thing you have to consider is that for how far is he having his own home-based problem that he has to face? You see, if you have your problem at home and you're having another problem outside the home, how can you combine it? The region has been, you know, embedded in so many of these issues we're talking about. So who is going to pull it out of this? You know, in most cases, most of these countries are not even, I don't think they pay enough of their funds to keep ECOWAS running properly. The same problem we have, if we cannot manage ECOWAS properly, how can we manage the African Union? So these are the things that we have to do. But see what is going on in SADC, you know, see what is going on in East African countries. They've been able to manage their regional affairs in a way that is helping. You know, Kenya is saying, look, come into this country. You don't need to pay any dime. You can move in. Yes, it's happening there. Go to Kigali. They say, look, you can come into Kigali without a visa. This is working. Let's make things work. Let's come together to work in ECOWAS. And you see, you have this separation or division of Francophone and Anglophone. So these are the issues again. And so if you can come together, let's leave what is Franco and Anglo, let's come together as West African brothers and sisters and let's move on. The trade going on, informal trade going on within ECOWAS borders is something huge in millions and billions of dollars. Let's, you know, come together to really make it function, make it work. So if Bio can do his own bit and make it work and rejig it, like you said, and make things happen the way it should be, we shouldn't be talking, nobody should be harassing us. No country outside this country, outside the world should be harassing, I mean, the African countries generally. But we see a lot of harassment. And, you know, when we are being harassed, we quickly run as if we are begging. We shouldn't be begging. African countries shouldn't be begging at all.
You're talking about what should be. And very soon I'll come back to ask you what immediate steps we think the President Julius Maada Bio should take. But let's talk about maybe the next 5 to 10 years. With the formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, does that start as a threat to the regional bloc? You know, do you foresee maybe an integration in the nearest future?
beyond, we shouldn't even be using the word trade because we are brothers. You know, we are not just outsiders to ourselves. We know ourselves and we are brothers. But the most important thing is coming together. He should be able to foster that regional cohesion, the regional, you know, solidarity, unity. You know, we talk about unity most times, but what is unity? How do we bring people together to understand what are the focus points that we want to discuss? We are talking about stability in the economy, stability in our regional forces. You know, we are talking about the issue of you know, banditry or whatever you call it, kidnapping, and all those kind of things happening within our region. How can we come together? Are we going to have a force that is going to deal with it? How can we bring these forces together? Who pays for what? And these are the issues that have to be discussed and concluded. The brothers who are in the Sahel region, they are part of Africa. They are part of ECOWAS. They've been in before. They have to be seen, we have to make them see that there is more to it. Not just about being the president or being the vice president of ECOWAS. It's just about the people. If the people is the focus, we have to focus on the people. The regional issue is about the people. How can we fight poverty? How can we reduce poverty? How can we reduce all those issues? The health issue of our people. Can you go to Cameroon, Ghana, or wherever to have this hospital treatment and your insurance is valid in Ghana? Is your insurance valid if you come to Nigeria to treat yourself in Nigeria? So these are initiatives, these are things that people want to see, you know?
It's a lot. It's a lot in terms of when we look at it, dissecting it. But then again, I mean, let's look at the ECO, which was rumored to be the best form of trade in terms of using it for trade within the African space, especially looking at West African countries. This hasn't kicked off. There are conversations that if we have this currency, it would aid seamless trade within borders. And the president, while also before his handover, I remember one of the statements he made, he had said that looking for a time where there will be borderless integration, where there will be no need for you to be, just like you also mentioned, your time as a vice president or working with a company, you had to go, there's laissez-passer, you can't pass. If you don't have this, you have to pay for this and so on. It's a bit dramatic. But in all of this, can we say, with the exit of countries like, you know, Mali, Burkina Faso, and so on, do you think that there might be a time where ECOWAS at some point will have these countries back and then have a strong formation to further provide what the African countries need?
There must be a reason for them to come back. I mean, that's what I said. You must be able to provide some you know, reasons, you know, for us to be back. If they've gone out of the system, out of the group, and you say, look, come back to this group because we have addressed these issues. What are the issues they want to address? If the issues want to be, you know, they want to be addressed, it's being tabled and addressed, there's no doubt about it. Even if they are on their own, they can still be working within the system. But the issue is not, we can't force them, they have their sovereignty. And, you know, but the issue is, let us find out what are the issues are we tackling. Is it just the issue of saying, oh, the colonial masters must go, or we don't want to be under the colonial master and stuff like that?
But BRICS is becoming a strong force as well.
Yes, but you see, this is what I'm saying. BRICS and every other association or organizations around the world, they come together to form a good forces. Why can't we do it in Africa? Why can't we just do it? The thing is that we still depend on all those countries. We still go back to them to beg for money, to beg for assistance. We shouldn't be doing that. ECOWAS is strong. African countries is so strong. The countries around Africa are so strong in whatever means. But we tell them to come to us and do this rather than for us to say, look, let's go to Ghana and develop Ghana. Let's Ghana go to Senegal and develop Senegal. Let's do this within ourselves. It is when we begin to do this within ourselves, the other people will respect us. European Union will just not say they are not doing anything, they're expecting any other country to, or any other association or organization to help them. They put these things on the table, they tackle it. Look at the way they are tackling the taxes. Look at the way they are tackling even immigration. So let's begin to work on issues. 3 issues, 1 issue, 3 issues, or 4 issues at a time, and we work on it and we get through it.
Okay, this leads me to my next question. In terms of working on 1, 2, 3 issues at a time, what would be the low-hanging fruit that President Julius Maada Bio should focus on in the immediate time, now that he's just, you know, received the leadership? What should be his core focus now?
Security. We need security. Without a good security in the region, you can't even get investments going on. We need good security. Good security means we have to bring people together to work on this issue. How can we secure our countries? How can we secure our borders? What can we do to eliminate some of these issues we are talking about, banditry, kidnapping, and jihadists, and all those things we are talking about that are making life uncomfortable for the citizens? You see, if that is the number one issue you can tackle, every other issue will follow, and people will trust you. People will have that confidence. Then you cannot have unity among the countries when there is lack of security. How do you even travel around when you are afraid that your car might be hijacked? How do you do that? You know, we should be able, you go through this Badagry, Lagos-Badagry border. You see the checkpoints there. How many checkpoints do we need to be able to drive between Germany and Netherlands and find out, do you have any checkpoint at all? Even at the border, there's no border again. So do you have any checkpoint at all? And people are moving. Security is very key. And once we are able to tackle that security issue, we should be comfortable as ECOWAS citizens. You are talking about the eco currency. It was a simple thing that we have to bring back. Each country has to meet a demand. They created this criteria for themselves, a certain number of GDP, whether you have this debt ratio to GDP, and we've not been able to meet it. And that is so bad that it's within how many years? It's been on for years now.
I also think that, President Trump has spoken tough about the BRICS currency.
Right.
Do you think it's also going to allow the eco currency?
Well, there might be. You see, when euro currency wanted to come up, the same thing. America was not too keen about it to come up. But you know, because if this currency comes up, we are going to be stronger. So if BRICS currency comes up, it's going to make us to be stronger. Look, you don't want anybody to go away with things like that. I mean, you don't expect Trump to say, look, set it up and don't use dollar again. Dollar is the most powerful currency. So people believe that, look, we should. But the moment we go for it, euro currency today, do you know what it is? It's even, you know, it's higher than the currency. So that's what they thought at the beginning. I was there then when this euro currency was coming up. And the same thing we debated that, look, the euro currency should be part of it. You know, but the people were focused. They knew what they were going to face, and they knew how to handle it. So we should know what we are going to face. Eco currency should come up, but who is going to manage it? We have to have a central bank that will clear all those things. We have a system that will make sure that it's secure, it can't be faked around.
So the central bank will be Central Bank of West Africa?
Yes, that's just like we have the European Central Bank, ECB. You know, so who is going to manage it? Is it going to be a regional thing again that we have to say, okay, Nigeria will stay there for 2 years, America will stay there? Who is going to fund it? Where are we going to get the money? You see, most times where African countries are cautious or cannot take decisions that rapidly is because they believe that we don't have enough to fund all these things. We still have to go to World Bank. Who is there? America is there. We have to go to IMF. Who is there? America is there. You have to go to African Development Bank. Who is there? America is there. So wherever you go, so you are cautious to deal with that issue. But if we take the bull by the horn and say, listen, here we go, we are moving on, I think everybody will be cautious and they'll be looking at it as, oh, this guy are bolder this time around. I think that is probably what those brothers in the Sahel region, they've done. They took the bull by the horn and we are seeing them to be bolder. These are young men and they said, look, we can go for it. You know, so let's go for eco currency. Let's work it out. But we can't rush into that again because our currencies are not stable. Look at SEDI has been very stable. The Ghanaian currency has been very stable. Yes, so far. And it has been like that for a couple of years back. And look, what is Naira doing? What is the other currency, CFA, doing? You know, and you know, the CFA in some of these ECOWAS countries, they are not the same. If you take the CFA of, what's it called now, the Republic of Benin to Cameroon, you can get the same, you know. So there are a lot of things we still have to work around. But for me is this, let's begin to do the right thing. Let's start with one thing, complete it and move on. We can't just say we want everything together at the same time and in the next 4 years or 5 years we are not achieving anything. I mean, that is not good enough.
Very insightful. Thank you so much, Mr. Joe Femi-Dagunro. I mean, I wish we had more time, but I think you've highlighted some very key and critical areas that we hope to see you know, affected in ECOWAS. Thank you so much for your
I appreciate it. Good to be here.
Thank you.
Very interesting.